Did you know that all Toyota and Lexus vehicles go through what we call the Vehicle Processing Center prior to them being shipped to a dealership? That's right. This is a bit of a secret facility where things like floor mats and something more substantial like roof racks are installed by the Vehicle Process Center before they actually reach the dealership's showroom. So this is a very important process that Toyota and Lexus vehicles go through, and I'm going to show you exactly how this works.
Welcome to the Toronto Vehicle Processing Center. Behind you we have the Workplace Safety Center, so same at the head office. So we have our first aider certified, and we have our spill team. We have a monthly meeting that we do for health and safety, just to remind the team members of all the safety issues that arise and address them. We have the Ontario Health and Safety book, so if a team member needs to refer to any of the safety any of the Ontario Health Act books, so they can refer to the book here. Kaizen opportunities. So every year we do always a lot of Kaizens. So one of the Kaizens that we did in the previous year is one of them is getting rid of papers. So we used to do, anytime we're processing a major or a minor vehicle, we used to print a work order, and the team member will go pick up his parts by the work order and place them in the vehicle and complete the vehicle. So we introduced the tablet system and we eliminated the paper. So that was an environmental improvement and reducing cost and eliminate paper. And it was 100% accurate in terms of scanning the parts instead of relying on a team member actually reading the part numbers of the parts and place them in the vehicle. So that can reduce, we reduced about 50,000 paper just in Toronto by introducing this tablet process. So you can see, once we go inside the shop, you can see the tablets on the cart. Every year again, with the expansion and the increase of volume, we expand the yard, we increase the first spawn arrest. So that's another Kaizen opportunities. Smaller Kaizen activities as well. Just for example, in terms of talkie-walkies here, so we put pictures for the team members to see. First spawn arrest again. We used to do the inspection at the rail, so we moved to the inspection to once the vehicle is in first spawn arrest, so that way it's a true inspection and true handoff from our offloader as well. So every year we go through a different project and see what's the proper best approach to like reduce stack time, reduce cost, and increase productivity as well. So just a quick overview in here as well. On this side, so we have our instruction sheet. We have pictures for the team members in here. So anytime a team member take a book in here, he can put a picture so we know who has it. Same thing in terms of wrenches. If someone take a quick wrench, then they put the picture on the wrench so we know who has it by the end of the day, so we make sure that everything is tracked and nothing get lost.
Whoever takes the tool, they put the picture of themselves on the...
Correct, okay. On the tool, yeah. And here I think everything is in place now. But yeah, you can see here, for example, okay. Right? So he has these two click wrenches in here, so that way.
That's so cool. Yeah.
We have our knowledge board, so anytime there is an issue found on a vehicle, we fill out problem PQR, it's problem quality report. So we share it between the facilities, between the WWS, Montreal, VPC, and we send it to the head office so we notify the plant. And we share it with the team members so they are aware of it, so that way we can keep an eye on any issues coming from factories and report them back.
Is that like a lining up the...
Yep, so there was just a lining up on the template, so the team member paid attention that it was not lined up properly, so we reported back to the plant.
Okay. That was the plant issue, right?
Yes, correct. We have our team member skill level, so we do keep a paper as well, but what we did is we just, to make it more visual, and if in case of a team member is absent, or we need to cross-train during slow times, so that way we have everything visualized for team member pictures and the accessories that need to be, that we do in here, so they can cross-train easily. So beginner is a quarter of a circle, novice, half a circle, and intermediate. So beginner is still learning the process, novice he can do the process, but someone need to be supervising. Intermediate, he can do the process by his own, and expert, he can train other team members. So just a quick visual for us as well.
Can I ask if
Yep.
do 5S on a regular basis, or
Yes, so
built into your daily work?
it's built into our daily. So at the end of every shift, the team members, the last 5 minutes, they start cleaning and make sure everything is in proper location. We make sure everything is labeled and everything is put in its proper place. Okay. This is the charging station. So this is a quick charger. It can charge a electric vehicle completely in an hour from 0 to 100%. So again, we have one charger in here. This area in here is where we do our major installation. As you can see, we always park the vehicle on the yellow lane. You can see there's yellow marking on the floor, so we always park the vehicle on the yellow lane. And the reason we do that, even inside the shop and outside the shop, is just make sure there is a safe distance between the vehicles, so when you open the door, the vehicles are not touching each other. Okay.
Can you give us an example of a major on a Tundra, for example?
Yeah, we can walk down there so we can see the Land Cruiser. If you guys want to follow me. So this one in here is a major vehicle. He's installing the sill plates on the vehicle. So this one takes sill plates. So he still needs to do one side in here. So he places template on.
Oh yeah, there's like a little jig. Oh, that's
Yes.
great. Yeah.
Yes.
And is this option on all RAV4 primes, or
No.
just like somebody checked that box and that's what he wants?
On this package. So some package they take only bumper protectors, some they take the sill plates,
Depending on
and
the configuration.
depending on the configuration of the vehicle. So you can proceed.
Yep.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Too complicated at the factory.
Yes, it's just something that we customize for the Canadian market. This package we want to install sill plates on it. Again, not all vehicles get the sill plates. So again, we face a lot of challenges also in the winter time, because we need to bring the vehicles and warm them up before we do the installation. So for example, a sill plate, you need to make sure that the interior of the vehicle is up to 15 degrees Celsius before we do an installation. And we have like heaters in there to make sure that bring the vehicles up to the temperature, right temperature. The team members, they have on their cart, they have a heat gun, so they check the temperature on the vehicle before they do the installation to make sure that it reaches the proper installation, because then it won't stick properly. Also, we clean the surface, so you can see in here he has on his cart, he has a bucket with water, and we use isopropyl to actually clean the surface of the vehicle before we do the actual installation. I'll explain here a little bit about the process. So once we bring in the vehicle into the shop, the team member scans the VIN. On here there's a VIN sticker on the rear window, and once you scan the VIN, you can see on the tablet it will show all the PPO required for this vehicle. So the team member then he goes and pick up his parts and put them inside the vehicle. Once the parts are inside the vehicle, he goes and scan every single part. Once he scans the part, it goes to green, and it shows that it's completed, it's inside the vehicle, and it changes it from 0. Like, see this part in here, the telematic label, he hasn't done it yet, so he's gonna install it now. And once he scans it, it will go from red to 1, and it will go green. So that's how we know that the vehicle is actually completed. So you can see now he just installed it, he scanned it, and now it says work order complete. So you're gonna press OK. So now when he presses OK, it releases the vehicle. So it says that the vehicle is released to lane 21A. Why 21A? Because this dealer, for example, we assign it to lane 21 in rail and truckload. So once he hit the release button, what happens is the carrier get notification saying that this vehicle is a RAV Prime. It's silver in color. This is the VIN. It's ready for you on 21. In lane 21 to go pick it up and deliver it to the dealer. Also, once he presses release, all the PPO items, they get updated in our inventory and get subtracted from our inventory, so we know that these parts are used. And then next time, for example, we're getting another RAV4 in rail. That way we can order parts for it as well.
And when he starts the process, every
Yep.
employee, I guess, goes with the cart, gets the part he needs, and then he brings his cart and
So when he started the process, he scans it first, and then it shows the
What he
parts, what he needs. He goes with his cart. It's correct, and it shows on where he's supposed to pick up his parts. So they has the location on where he's supposed to go on the rack to pick up his parts. He'll pick them up, place them in the vehicle, and we make sure that he scans the parts once they're inside the vehicle, because we don't want to forget a part outside, scan it while it's outside and forget it to place it in the vehicle. So once all the parts you can see they're inside the vehicle, the label is facing up, so that way they can scan the part number. So it's 100% no errors, no human errors. Make sure they scanned. And if you scan the wrong number, wrong part number, or if you scan, I can't do it right now because this one is done, but if you scan the wrong part number, it will tell you this part does not belong for this vehicle. If you scan it twice, it will give you a message saying you scanned it already. So that way, if you put twice the part in the vehicle, it will tell you as well.
The installed part, did he scan also? Is that to say it's completed? Is it scanned or?
Yes, so usually there is a part on the box. So for the installation, it's a little bit different. So once the installation is done in here, what we do is he usually, once you release it, he'll put a wiper up. So he wiper the vehicle. Once he wipers it, it means it's ready, and another team member will come and inspect the vehicle. So on an installation, we need to do an actual inspection to make sure that the vehicle is good, and do an inspection. Like for example, make sure no gap on this product in here, it's installed properly, it's not loose, it's pressed down, there's no gap on it. So that's the inspection that is done, and then we take the vehicle and park it before. So that's done on every installation that we do in the shop.
And mainly these are to cover for slight difference in spec among different countries, right? Because they're based on where you are in the region, they have a slight different application of materials and parts.
It's the same across in Canada. So in Canada, so
if
that's,
you go to some other country, US or
that's,
some other country, then they have a different.
they have different suppliers. Sometimes we share same suppliers. Sometimes they have different suppliers, or sometimes they have different product that they use. Like sometimes we use illuminated door sills on Lexus, for example, instead of like a regular door sills plate. Okay.
Do you guys do the exact same work as the Vancouver port with WWL?
Correct. So
WWS now, they call WWS.
yeah, or WWL. So same, they do the same installation on the Land Cruiser, same work order. So basically, they brought the vehicle in, they scanned the VIN. It shows all the PPO items on it required. So the team member now, he will prep the vehicles. They know this one is getting the fog lamps. So they will prep the vehicle, put it on the hoist. Yep. Good. So this one, I think it was the fog lamp. It was picked by PPD. It has a two color. It goes yellow and white. So that's it. So everything else is preset from the factory. So the switches in the vehicle, like in the headlight, it already has fog lamps on it. But I think because it was something that accessory department and PPD wanted a different style of.
And on this vehicle, somebody can switch from the round headlight to the other one because it's the same thing behind. Do it here?
No, the round, like to the square headlight. That's factory. That's factory. That's how you order it. Yeah.
Because
So
they told us at the launch that it could be changed at the dealers if somebody wants.
that
I have an
Yeah,
answer
sure.
for that. So the configuration is swappable. It's like identical, but they don't. But actual production is done at the factory. But if you buy the part, you can swap it.
You can swap it after.
I mean, you can change the headlight, I guess. Yes. But. So again, he double checks to make sure that it stays properly on the hoist before we lift it up.
And what do you guys? This is for the fog lamp installation.
Correct.
And
For the
bring it
fog, you have to bring it up. They have to remove the two front tires
up.
to do the actual installation. Yeah.
Bring it up.
So again, he lifted up a little bit. He checked, make sure that the vehicle is stable before he raise it all the way to the top. So again, we don't want the team member to lift the tire for ergonomic issues, so they'll bring the tire lifter and put it beside the tire, align it with the tire, and they remove the lugs.
Oh. to remove both tires just to reinstall the new fog lamp.
Yes, because you need to remove these parts in here and get behind the tire to actually do the fog lamp installation.
Okay. There's nothing there right now.
Correct.
I
So
see,
they will
that's
remove
why.
this plastic.
I see. But is that something later on they might decide to do at the factory then?
It might in the future. They might change it to the factory. And they might bring, like, for example, the first edition, we were doing roof racks installation on it. We were doing, they were limited edition, so roof racks, we did skid plates, fog lamps on that one as well, and side step bars. So we did a few other installation, but it was a limited number of vehicles that we had to do.
Yeah.
Now before, so you had that problem.
Of course, because we have 30 people watching.
No pressure. Right?
No pressure at all. So this one, they will complete the installation and then they will go grab all the parts and put them in the back of the vehicle and then scan them and complete the vehicle. So I'm just gonna take you quickly just outside here.
How do you measure the pack time and make sure that it's within a certain time limit to finish the work?
I mean, it's with the training. With the training at the beginning, when we start an installation, it will take longer. Once the team members are trained, that's when we know they're on tack time and able to do the
Not
process.
like you guys have a count time.
No, we don't have an actual clock. No. Yeah, just quickly here, just gonna show you. All the vehicles get offloaded and brought into where the booth is. That's where they scan the vehicle and it will tell them where to park it. So these are first point of rest lanes. You can see all the lanes are numbered and you can see all the vehicles are parked on the yellow lane to make sure that the distance between the vehicles stay the same and we don't scratch a vehicle when we open the door. So same, once the vehicles are here, then a team member will come in and inspect the vehicle, make sure there's no damage found on it, and they open the driver's side mirror. It's also another visual for us that the vehicle is inspected. So once the driver's side mirror is open, we know that this vehicle has been inspected and ready for us for PPO processing. Okay.
But you're not necessarily parking them in the order in which it's going in here, right?
We park them, we pre-group them. So we say like, oh, I want all the runners in here or the Tundras in here. So we park them per PPO, so it's easier for us to process and for ETA and to get it to the customer on time. Even like down to retail or non-retail, we can group them to which lanes we want them. So it's easier for us for.
Now that we had a chance to see the Vehicle Processing Center in action, let's go and find out more details about this operation because they're going to do a full presentation and they're going to explain everything from beginning to end. Let's go take a look.
Welcome to the Toronto Vehicle Processing Center. So we are part of the Vehicle Logistic Department. The Vehicle Logistic Department consists of three departments: Logistic Planning, Transportation and Operations, and Vehicle Processing. So logistic planning oversees and coordinates projects related to logistic IT infrastructures. So all the systems are handled by the logistic planning for our vehicle logistic department, and monitor the transportation and the events of the transportation of the vehicles, the ETAs, and all the system behind it, the wholesale, to align with the TCI sales. So also they're responsible for the budget for the Toronto and Montreal Vehicle Processing Center. So we have a similar building in Montreal. It's called the Montreal Vehicle Processing Center. So it's similar to Toronto, just a little bit smaller in size, but we do the same type of processing. The second department is Transportation and Operations. So Transportation and Operations, they're responsible for on-time, cost-effective and damage-free ocean, rail, and truck segments transportation. So we make sure every year we do a lot of testing on the vehicle. We put the vehicles on rails and on truck, and we do measurement to make sure that there's no damage that occur during transportation. We place and we make sure that we look always at the most cost-effective and the fastest way to get the vehicles out to our customers. The third section in here is vehicle processing. So we're responsible for the high quality processing of PPO. So PPO is post-production options. directly in Toronto and Montreal, and indirectly at WWS in Vancouver. So we have a port that we subcontract in the West Coast that they do PPO post-production options for us, and one in Halifax as well on the East Coast. So this is our department statement. So through rigorous daily management, Kaizen activities, and the Toyota Way business practices, Vehicle Logistics does provide improved business partner relationship and processes. So we always have a good relation with our business partners. We throw every year a business partner meeting for them. We give them awards for their Kaizen activities. We secure cost-efficient and effective network transportation, quality vehicle processing service that meet TCI sales plan requirements, consistently accurate customer ETA. So we always look at DTA and make sure that we get the vehicles on time to the dealers and to our customers, and the highest vehicle delivery quality standards. So just a quick process. So the vehicle comes from factory, it goes into a PPO facility for PPO installation, and then from the PPO facility it goes to the dealer or to a relay yard, like a facing yard. So relay yard is a yard we have in remote areas, like in the prairies, Edmonton, Calgary, Regina. We have yards that we don't do any processing in there, just the vehicle will get in there and then it gets sent to the dealer by truck and the relay yard. So this is just, I'm gonna explain just the network for Toyota. So throughout the year we get vessels from the plants in Japan and Europe. Then we have Cambridge and Woodstock plant. These are the two plants that build the Canadian vehicles. So north we have the Lexus NX, the RX, the RAV4 and RAV4 hybrids, and the hybrid NX and RX are built in the Cambridge and Woodstock plant. Then we have the U.S. plants. So we have TMMI, Indiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, TM, Texas, and we have a plant in Mexico. These are the North American product that built in the U.S. So they built like the Highlander, the Grand Highlander, the Tundra, Tacoma is built in Mexico. The Corolla and Corolla Crosses, these are the vehicles that are built in Sequoia as well, built in the U.S. Then we have the ports and the VPCs. That's where we do the actual PPO installation. So we have WWS and Autoport. These are the two ports that we on the east and west coast that we do PPO installation. We subcontract them. And then we have the Toronto and Montreal VPCs that do the actual PPO installation. And we have the remote yards where no PPO is installed, just facing yard. These are the relay yard that we talked about before. I can explain a little bit on the process just quickly. So vessel comes from Japan. The vessel usually has about 5,000 units on it for the Canadian market, usually between 1,200 to 1,500 units for the Canadian market. And then once the vessel arrives, it just gets offloaded, and every vehicle gets inspected for damage once it's offloaded off vessel, and it gets scanned. So everything for the Ontario region, for example, it gets put on rail and sent to Toronto for PPO processing. And anything for the Quebec region gets put on rail and sent for the Montreal VPC for PPO processing. So the port at WWS, they do the PPO processing for the Japanese unit for the Pacific and the prairie area and the Atlantic zone as well. So they do the PPO installation, and then for Pacific they truck the vehicles to the dealer once the PPO is completed, and for the prairie and Atlantic area they put the vehicles on rail once the PPO is completed, and they send them by rail to the facing yard, and then from the facing yard they go to the dealers. Also at WWS, they do the PPO installation for everything built in North America for the Pacific region only. So the vehicles get built in these plants, put on rails, and go to WWS for PPO installation. Once this PPO is done, then they truck them to the dealer at WWS. In Toronto, we do the PPO processing for vehicles coming from Japan by vessel. They send by WWS to us. And we also process all the North American product built sent to us by rail to Toronto VPC. once the vehicles are offloaded, we do the PPO, and then we ship them directly to the dealers, but also we do the Prairie in here. So we do rail out from Toronto to all the Prairie facilities in Toronto. Montreal VPC, similar process. They get the vehicle from Vancouver, from Japan by rail, and they do the PPO for North American product for the Quebec region, and they do also North American product for the Atlantic region in Montreal, and they ship them truck to dealers. On the East Coast, we only have one vessel that comes from the East Coast, and it's only one vehicle built in Europe, the Supra. That's the only vehicle that we receive from there. Since it's one vehicle, the PPO is done. It's all done, completed by Halifax Autoport. And once the vehicle is completed, they ship to all the facing yard and to the facility to Montreal and Toronto by rail, and we offload the vehicles and send them to the dealers. So that's just a quick overview on how vehicles are processed. The Canadian plant, Cambridge and Woodstock, we don't do any PPO installation on the Canadian plant. So those are completed 100% at the factory, and they ship directly to all the facing yard as well. So there's no installation done at the Cambridge and Woodstock plant for us. Okay. Any questions on this?
What do you qualify as PPO? You know, like the options you have.
So PPO is post-production options. Those PPOs, like I can go through other slides, explain what they are. They're actually selected by PPD, the product planning development in the head office, and they decide which PPO content should go in each vehicle. And these content is just to bring the vehicle to the Canadian market, so we stay competitive within our other OEMs. So just to bring the level, we put carpets, for example, rubber mats, splash guards. We'll talk a little bit more in detail. Sometimes we do more access.
But like a 400 TRD Pro,
Yes.
it's actually complete done at here, right? Like they arrive as a SR5, and you guys change all of them around.
So we do suspension. So they do the suspension alignment and the wheels on the TRD Pro.
Yeah.
Only the 4Runner. So
Forerunner, yeah.
that one vehicle is a specific. So it's done at WWS. They have the alignment equipment. We don't have an alignment equipment here in Toronto, so they do it for Ontario as well. So it was easier to invest in one equipment instead of having multiple equipment. So they do it at WWS, and they do it at the Montreal VPC. But we do install the suspension on that unit. They change the tire. We do alignment, headlight alignment on that unit as well. So this is just a picture of the port at WWS, so you have an idea of what it looks like. So they have two berths in here for the vessel offload. They have their rail inbound and outbound. They have a PPO facility. So again, WWS is a port that we subcontract to do our PPO installation. They don't do just Toyota. They do other many OEMs. So receive all other OEMs like Nissan. They do other vehicles at WWS. This is a picture of the Montreal Vehicle Processing Center. So similar to Toronto VPC, they do similar PPO as us in here. Just a little bit of a smaller building. And this is just the Toronto Vehicle Processing Center. So this map just shows just a focus on Toronto only, on how we process the vehicles. So a little bit of what I just explained. So everything is built in North America. It gets put on rail, except the Cambridge and Woodstock unit. They get put on rail and sent for the Toronto VPC for PPO processing. Once the PPO is complete, then they get put on truck and sent to the dealer. We also do the Prairie units. So once we do the PPO from North American vehicles, we put on rails and we send them to Winnipeg, Edmonton, Calgary, Regina to the facing yard, and from these yards they go directly to dealers. The product that is built in Japan and in Europe, they come by vessel to Autoport and WWS, and then railed out to Toronto VPC for Ontario, get the PPO processed and sent to the dealers. So just an overview of Toronto. So these are our business partners. So we have the CP Rail, the rail company that brings our vehicles. Hanson Offload Team, so that's the team that offload the vehicles for us. We have a company called LDS, Logistic Data Systems. They do the inspection for us to make sure there's no damage occurred during transit. So anytime we handle a vehicle, we put it on rail or on truck or on vessel, we have an inspection done to make sure that there's no damage, and we record if there's any damage, we record it in our system, so it gets to make sure that the dealers is notified. And then we have the two carriers, Hanson and United Roads. These are the two carriers that delivers our vehicle to the dealers. So again, these only the business partners for Toronto. In Montreal, they have a different carriers. They have La Berge and other carriers in Montreal. The same in Vancouver. They have McGill and other carriers and business partners in Vancouver. So the Toronto VPC sits on 30 acres. We have the rails actually get offloaded on the east and south of the building. Everything that gets offloaded has to go through this opening in here and through a booth in here, and there's a team members that they're standing scan every vehicle. So they scan a vehicle and put it into something we call first point of rest. So that's the first point of rest before the vehicle gets into the building for PPO processing. So as I mentioned, rail offload on two locations, east and south of the building. Rear cars, we get maximum of 62 rails. That's the rail car, that's the compound capacity, it's the rail capacity. So not necessarily that all rails are for Toyota, but that's the maximum capacity of the yard. Total parking bays, we have 3,400 plus. We say plus is just because of the size of the vehicles. Sometimes we have bigger vehicles. If we're sitting in lanes, we can't park like Tundras. They're bigger vehicles, so we can put only 12 Tundras in one lane, where like Corollas we can fit up to 16 vehicles on the lane. One-way traffic flow, so everything has to get offloaded, goes inside the building for PPO processing, and then from then after the PPO is completed, it goes up to truckload or goes to rail. Truckaway geographic bay locations, what that means is we group our truckload lanes so that's easier for the carrier to find his vehicle. So for example, lane 8, we assign it to downtown Toronto, so we make sure that everything is released is for downtown Toronto is parked in lane 8, so the carrier, when he comes to pick up his vehicles, he knows that all his vehicles are in lane 8. So eastern, western Ontario, different locations are assigned to different lanes, so it's easier for the carrier to find their vehicles in here. Secure site, so as you saw coming in, we have security up front, so security kiosk, 24/7 security available. On site, everything is gated. Cameras, if you speed, I get a call, someone is speeding, so it's all gated in here. Associate, so TCI manager, myself, TCI consultant, we have one consultant in the office, Leslie Holder, and outsourced production team members, we have a total of 18 now. We are a total of 20 people in this building. So this is just a west view of the building. The building is 26,000 square feet. So the building is actually a TCI building. We sit on the CP property. The building is owned by Toyota, but we are on the CP property in here. So in the next couple of slides, I'm going to refer to something called major, minor, and PPO. So major is something that we do an installation on a vehicle. Anytime we're doing an installation, like you mentioned before on the 4Runner, the suspension, so that's an installation. So we call those major and refer to as usually number 2. And minor is something that we just throw in parts in the vehicle. We don't do any installation. We just open the rear hatch or the trunk on the vehicle, throw in parts, and we send them to the dealers. So those are minor, referred to usually as number 1. And we have 4 doors, 2 doors for major, 2 doors for minor, 1 door for PPO receiving parts. So we receive our parts from the ECPDC. So we order parts, and that's where we receive our parts from. This is just a building layout, so everything goes into the shop. We have 18 parking bays for major installations, and we have 2 lanes or minor lanes to do PPO actual throw-in items. So minor we can do anywhere in the shop. We just did a Kaizen activity last year. We were used to do minor only in minor lanes. Now we can do minor and major anywhere in the shop, so it's more versatile and ability to process the vehicle anywhere in the shop. So once the vehicle is offloaded from rail, we have a person that stands there and scan every single vehicle, and it will tell them where to park the vehicle. So we'll say this one, park it in lane 3, park it in lane 4, and the reason on the scanner, and the reason, and it will go to lane 3 or lane 4 is just because we pre-group everything in here. We set up the vehicles, so we want to group the Tundras together or the Tacomas together, so it's easier for us for processing and to manage and be more efficient in terms of finishing the PPO. So we want, for example, the Land Cruisers, they have fog lamps. The one that requires fog lamps, for example, we put them all in one lane. The one that are minor, we put them in a different lane, so it's easier for us to process those vehicles. Once the vehicles are offloaded, they are parked in first point of rest. Once they are in first point of rest, we have the LDS team that they go and inspect every single vehicle and make sure no damage on the vehicle. If they found the damage on a vehicle, then they'll take pictures and it goes uploaded to a system, to LDS system, and then someone at the head office can review those damages and say, okay, we can ship this to a dealer, or this needs to go to a body shop to get repaired. This is a map of first point of rest. So once the vehicles are offloaded, we have a total of 54 lanes. So green is vehicle inspected and no damage is found. Gray, you can see here in the box there are gray. So gray means the vehicle still need inspection. Red means the vehicle is inspected and the damage is found on the vehicle. So these damages could be like a little scratch, a little paint chip, so it's just something minor, not really major damage. It could be a scuff mark, but we record everything that once it's offloaded. So as you can see also, like in here you can see, as I mentioned, like number 2 is major, number 1 is minor. So you can see like all the vehicles for 2 are together in one lane, the 1 are in one lane. There's a second letter called R, which is retail. So that means that we group the vehicles that are retail together so we can prioritize those vehicles that are sold orders for the customer. Unfortunately, like after COVID, everything is coming retail now, so everything is actually, we don't have to prioritize that because all the vehicles are sold. But before COVID, we used to prioritize like retail versus non-retail. This is a picture of first point of rest. So this is what first point of rest looks like. So we can see it once we go on a tour, for a quick tour inside the shop. The items, so I think someone was asking me what are the items that we install and we throw in. So minor PPO, so these are the items that we threw inside the vehicle. Wheel locks, carpet mat, rubber floor mats, splash cards, cargo nets, headphone wallets, crossbars, documentation. So these are the items that we open the hatch of the vehicle and we just threw the items in. And on the major PPO side, the ones in red we used to do, we don't do anymore. We used to do seat heater, we just stopped 2 years ago. We used to do dash camera, dual exhaust, sway bars, tailgates. These are items we used to do the installation of. Now we do the roof racks, bed rails, badges, decals, fog lamps, rear bumper protectors. These are running boards. These are the items that we currently install on a vehicle. An installation on a vehicle, like when we had the seat heater, for example, it used to take, there can be from 20 minutes up to 3 hours. Like a seat heater will take us up to 3 hours to complete. If we have 3 team members on the vehicle, then we can finish it in an hour and a half. But we used to have to manage those vehicles, and they take longer, and the volume on these vehicles. Major and minor processing. So as I mentioned, we do major and minor. So we have a tablet in the shop, so you'll see the process once we go in the shop. But we have a tablet, the team vehicle will come in, the team member will scan the VIN, all the PPO items will show up on the tablet. The team member will pick up his parts, then scan every single part number to make sure that the correct part number is placed inside the vehicle, and then they complete the vehicle and release it to the truck. This is just an overview of the yard layout. So everything that, as I mentioned, that is offloaded goes through first point of rest. Once it's in first point of rest, then it goes into the building for PPO processing. Once PPO is done, then it goes to an area called Kanban. The reason we put it in Kanban, it just, we don't want the team member who actually did the installation to go park the vehicle. Because for example, this vehicle is released to lane 1. So we don't want the team member who's doing installation to go all the way to lane 1 to park the vehicle. So we have a shuttle team that will pick up the team members, the vehicle that are completed, park them, and the shuttle team will bring those team members back to the Kanban area. So that's the reason why we park them there. And then from the Kanban area, the vehicle will go into the truckload or rail load if it's needed to be rail loaded, or if there is a hold on the vehicles, then it goes to stock or not assigned to a dealer, then it goes into the stock contingency area. So again, we do the environmental practice in here. So we recycle paper and plastic and metal. We do our spring cleanup every year as well for environmental, and that's pretty much it for the presentation. Any questions on this one? Yeah.
I know WWL operates in Vancouver Port, right?
Correct.
How do you manage, standardize your quality across different
So
contractors?
we have instruction sheet on how to do an installation on a vehicle. So we share those instruction sheet are done by our accessory department. They send us those instruction sheet. It's a standardized operation on how to do an installation on a vehicle. So we all train through these instruction sheet and make sure that we follow those instruction sheets. So it's a
Like,
standardized
don't
process.
Send anyone there to train?
So we usually, it depends on the complexity of the installation. Like if it's a simple bumper protector installation, we usually record it on a video and send them the video. If it's something that we actually get more involved in wiring, or like for example the fog lamp on the Land Cruiser, sometimes we fly team members to Vancouver and they can train other team members in there. Usually it's the engineer responsible for that part from the accessory department with another QA person that does the installation. And we do also have a tack time, so study, like a time study done on every accessory, so we know how much to pay per accessory for that installation and how long it should take a team member to do that installation on a vehicle.
What is your average tack time?
It depends again on the, like for example on minor, it can take up to 5 minutes to 6 minutes to do a minor processing. On major, as I mentioned, it depends on the complexity of the installation. Some vehicle can take 10 minutes to process if it's a quick bumper protector installation. A fog lamp, for example, on the Land Cruiser, it take up to an hour to complete if we have 2 team members on that.
You said you were replacing tires on some models.
Correct.
But the car comes with tires. What happens with those tires that are not needed for that specific?
So these are only on the special edition models. So we usually replace the wheels. We just take the wheels, we recycle them. They go into recycling. And if the tires need to be, like at one point we did change tires, so again they go to recycling on those models. We don't resell those products. They go to recycling.
Brand new tires, suspension pieces are thrown away, right?
Yes, correct. We're not in the business of selling more product.
Probably non-compliant.
Correct.
As much as possible, like for an addition that we're going to change a wheel, we will try to retain the factory tire, but we'll recycle the metal rim, obviously, to put an upgraded alloy. Right? So those items are recycled, so it's not pure waste. Right?
Any other questions?
No, good. Let's go into it.
Okay.